Hello, and welcome to Between the Streams podcast. My name's Jay, and this is the show where we ask the most important questions to your favorite streamers and content creators to find out who they really are. Today's guest is a variety streamer with games like Valorant, Five Nights at Freddy's, and Dead by Daylight. PurpleGrimes, how you doing today?
I'm very good. How are you?
Doing good. I'm feeling good today.
Thank you for having me, by the way. I'm very excited.
Well, thank you for coming on. You have fun with it. This has actually been really fun to record so far, so I've been looking forward to this.
Well, I'm happy to be a part of it, so.
Awesome. Well, before we get started, a couple of little guidelines for you. Number one, you can answer questions as your IRL self or your internet persona. That's totally up to you. Number two, you don't have to give out any information you don't want. We're not trying to dox anybody. We don't want to know where you live. We don't want your address. But keep it as vague as you want. Number three, you can skip any questions you wish. If something brings up bad past memories or is triggering, skip right past it. We'll keep on going. And number four, you can answer with as much or as little detail as you want. Yes and no are acceptable answers, and the Declaration of Independence is an acceptable answer.
Gotcha.
So, how you feeling? You ready to hop into it?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's start going.
All right. First four are kind of softball questions. Arguably, some people don't think so. But question number one, what's your name?
Well, I go by PurpleGrimes, but also Jenna. That is my real name, but I don't mind if people use it. It's pretty common, so, Jenna or PurpleGrimes work either way.
Awesome. Moving quickly on to number two, what do you do?
Well, this Tuesday, May 31st, I actually graduate from college. So I'm going to be graduating with a bachelor's and, I just have a part-time job and I stream. Yeah, not much.
All right. Quickly on to question number three. Where are you from?
I am from the US, specifically New York. I'm really close to the city, so I, do little recommendations on my Twitter sometimes, but yeah, I'm from New York.
Okay. And coming into number four, the last of our softball questions for right now anyways. Vanilla or chocolate?
This is a hard one. I mean, it depends on my mood, but I guess vanilla, because you can kind of mix it with different things, so.
Vanilla is kind of the base for a lot of ice cream dishes and a lot of other things as well.
Yeah, it's a good starter point,
Oh yeah. And I'm definitely realizing that I don't know how old you are, but it seems like more the younger generations, they go more towards chocolate, and as you increase in age, you start to realize that vanilla is like the better all around.
Really? You want to know what's crazy? I never was a huge fan of chocolate. Like, I like it sometimes, but even as a kid, I loved vanilla. I thought it was great. It went with everything. Like, if someone had chocolate, of course, I wouldn't pass it up as ice cream. But, like, if I had to choose, it'd be vanilla.
Okay. Stepping into question number five, let's get a little deeper. What is something you've done that you're proud of?
That's a good question. Well, I guess graduating from college. I'm graduating with a bachelor's of a double major of criminology and forensic psych, also with honors. And I worked a lot for that degree, so I'm glad to be done with it. But I mean, I'm pretty proud of it. I know, like, a lot of people get degrees nowadays, but this is an achievement.
It's definitely something to be proud of, especially a double major and honors, and your majors sound fairly in-depth and complicated.
They're very like social action, criminal justice focused. So it wasn't like hard math and science, but it was a lot of writing papers, which, is hard, but also I get it.
Yeah, I have a bachelor's degree in business. And I didn't so much write a bunch of papers, but it was a lot more math than I was expecting.
Yeah, also didn't realize how much a business major was for math, but I have a friend who's a business major, and he had to take a lot of math classes, and I was, like, very surprised. I thought it was more like policy focused,
Yeah, no, you don't realize how much accounting you have to go into for a business degree, because it's all balance sheets and cash flow statements and knowing what goes where and how it affects everything else. I was not expecting it, but I'm actually really glad that I learned it.
Yeah, I mean, that's good job on the business degree. Getting a degree is hard in general, no matter what major. So
I got a bachelor's degree and I don't use it.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's too common nowadays.
Well, let's skip on to question number 6. How many siblings do you have, if any?
I have a sister. Her name is Amanda. She comes on the stream sometimes, so that's why I know she'd be okay with me saying her name. But, yeah, she's younger than me. I don't know if she'd be comfortable with me saying her age, so I won't. But, she's not a minor. She's just a couple years younger. She's great, but she looks like she's bigger than me because she's taller than me. So, but she's younger.
I actually have the exact same thing with my older brother. He's 3 years older than me, but I'm taller by like 2.5 inches, and he hates it.
It's always like that though. It's always the older siblings that look younger. Like whenever we go out in public, everyone's like, oh, can I see your ID? And they're like looking at me, even though I'm the actual legal one. And I'm like, dang. So you're just gonna do me like that? Like, but yeah, it happens. I am pretty short, so that's why I understand why I get IDs. So it's fine.
Yeah. Well, question number 7. Let's go even deeper. Have you ever been in love?
Well, I have a boyfriend now. I don't know if that constitutes like being in love or not. I mean, I love him, but I don't know like if I would say we're in love. We've been together for like 2.5 years now, so it's like a at this point it's getting more comfortable, which I don't mind. I like it, the comfort, but and like the it's not like, how in the beginning of a relationship you guys just want to be around each other all the time and like kiss all the time and stuff.
Yeah.
We're not at that stage anymore. Of course we still like kiss and all that stuff, but like sometimes when we hang out we just chill in silence for hours while we do our own thing, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. Like I've been married for over 13 years now, and the majority of me and my wife's time is spent with me sitting in my office and her sitting in the other room at her computer. And a lot of the time we'll be in the same voice chats, but most of the time we do our own thing.
I think that's the best way because, that's like your best friend, but you're just not at that stage anymore. I know a lot of people like that stage and they miss that stage, but I'm pretty much okay with it. I feel like it's slightly less stressful because you don't have to like worry about like pleasing the other person all the time. You already know what they like and what they don't like,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and it's also a combination of like being your own person, like in those initial stages of a relationship where you want to be up each other's asses the whole time.
Yeah,
you become one person. Like if you get invited to a friend gathering, it's are John and Jan coming? And it's said almost as one name. But I mean, you have to differentiate yourself and have your own life and your own interests and have that separate time. Even if you're together in the same house, same room or whatever, you don't have to be joined at the hip.
I definitely agree with that. And a lot of people like losing that individuality, not like losing it, but like they don't mind being paired with their partner all the time. But I like being paired with him sometimes and then other times just being me, That's why I think we're at a good stage now, so. That's
good.
I wouldn't call that in love, though. I would just say like it's like a comfort love, you know what I mean? Like a companionship, as someone would say.
Okay. Moving on to possibly my favorite question. Question number 8. What is the drunkest you've ever been?
Oh boy, you asked the wrong person. All right, so I have several stories. I'm not uncomfortable with sharing any of these. My community is very aware of some of these. There's one story I won't share because it was with my boyfriend and his family and it was too much. A couple people know that story, but I don't think many people do, so I won't say that one. But one time I went on a Pennsylvania trip with my friends and we were drinking like a jungle juice. You mixed a jungle juice. Bad idea. I remember drinking the jungle juice, not even drunk at all, maybe like half a cup in, and then I don't remember anything. Turns out, I woke up in a different shirt, so I imagine I threw up on myself, or like threw up in general. But apparently during the night, I like ran around telling everyone that I love them, because these are like my closest friends. And, one of them, this is just when I started streaming, one of them asked for my autograph. And I was just like, here for my Grimesers. And I signed my name and then did the sheesh, like the sheesh, the hand movement. I don't know if you know that. It's from like TikTok, but
yeah.
Yeah, so that was one time. There's plenty of other times, but I would say that's my favorite time. There's actually a video of it, so.
Oh, wow. That needs to be shared around the internet.
Yeah, it's in my Discord. If anyone is in my community, they've seen the video, most likely. It's very funny. I don't mind. Like, it's okay to get fucked up every once in a while. Excuse my language, I'm so sorry. But it's okay.
We encourage foul language
okay.
here.
Good, great. But it's fine to do that every once in a while. I don't mind that people see me get like that, because I'm young, you know what I mean? It'd be different if I was, like, older and doing it often, so I don't mind.
Okay, well, as a streamer, I normally get the same answer for the next question, but we gotta ask it anyways with question number 9, day or night?
I'm awake more during the night, but I like the daytime, so that's my answer.
Okay. We've had a lot of night owls so far.
Yeah, I mean, we are gamers, so...
Very true. But it seems like, again, it's an age thing. It seems like as people get older, they're awake more during the day, but they prefer the night. But it sounded like you're kind of reverse.
I love sunlight, and I think that it makes me happy, you know? But I never am awake during the day, especially now with COVID. It's ruined my sleep schedule. So, like, the times when I'm awake is usually when everyone else is asleep. But I'm sad about that, and I've tried to change my sleep schedule, but it just ends up with me, like, not getting the correct amount of sleep for, like, a week. So I just keep it, I guess, how it is.
Yeah, go with your internal clock. That's the best way.
Yeah.
Well, question number 10. We reached the halfway point already.
Wow. I'm loving the questions, by the way. Sorry if I know this is a podcast, but I love talking, so sometimes I'll ramble on about one question.
Oh, no, we encourage rambling. But question number 10 is, what is your favorite color?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious from my username that my favorite color is red. That's a joke. It's legitimately purple. If you were to see my room, it's, I have purple LEDs on right now. The wall that I'm looking at is purple. My PC is purple. Like, I love the color purple.
Obvious answer, but still, gotta
it's
ask
all right.
them. We'd love to hear about it.
No worries.
Well, the second half is really where the rambling's going to come in handy, because this is where we have a lot more questions that require longer responses.
Mm-hmm.
So, starting with number 11, who is someone who has inspired you?
Someone that's inspired me. I never really think about it, but I guess probably my best friend from high school. We're the same age. She just graduated as well, but I've always really admired her and thought she was super smart, because she did better than me in high school and got even better honors in college, but she also just, like, I don't know, is just a really fun person to be around. And, like, she is also very, like, emotionally intelligent as well. Like, if I'm having a bad day or having a bad time, she, like, knows exactly what to say. It's crazy. So, yeah, I admire her. I look up to her. She inspires me to be a better person.
It's always good to have someone like that around.
I agree.
Question number 12. What is your most prized possession?
Well, I mean, I have a couple that I have. Like, I have one Squishmallow that is my favorite Squishmallow ever. I'm a Squishmallow collector. That one is one my boyfriend gave me, and it's the Squishmallow Max. He's a little raccoon with a rainbow tummy. He was one of the first Squishmallows that, like, I got. And, I love him. He has a similar personality to me. In his little bio, it says he's a gamer. So I love that. And then I also have it's actually a wand that was custom made for me. I'm also a big Harry Potter fan. When I was younger, I took one of my first paychecks for my first jobs and spent it on a custom Harry Potter wand. And it is my prized possession. I bring it with me every time I go to Universal. It doesn't work, of course. It's not interactive, but it is beautiful, and I love it. So
amazing. Harry Potter is one of the best universes out there.
It is so immersive. Even if you're not a huge Harry Potter fan, if you just go to Universal Studios, or even, like, there's places in New York, like there's the Harry Potter store, there's a Harry Potter bar where, like, you mix your drink like a potion. I think there's so much, since it's so immersive, there's so much to do. You can literally do anything with it. So I think it's the most immersive and expandable universe, next to Marvel, of course. Like, there's a lot you could do with it.
Oh, yeah. And you also have to mention Star Wars in there.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh my God. Star Wars
Star
as
Wars
well.
universe, it goes
Yes.
on forever.
Yeah, and they just opened a new thing in Disney too. It's supposed to like a new hotel. It's supposed to be like extremely like you feel like you're in it, you know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
Check
expensive
that out.
though.
Well, that'll bring us to question number 13, which I will have to clarify some things, but I'm going to ask the question as it's written and then clarify. So, question 13 is beach vacation or camping trip. Now, the clarification is when I say camping trip, I don't necessarily mean roughing it, tent on the forest floor, all that. But unless that's what you want. Camping can be in an RV, in a cabin up in the mountains, whatever you want. And then a beach vacation, kind of the same thing. If you want a beach house or if you want to just spend the day towel on the beach.
See, I don't know. I love nature, so I wouldn't mind either of those. If you were to throw me in either of those situations, I probably would be fine with that. But if I had to pick, I'd probably pick the mountains because while I do love the beach, I'm very pale and I burn very easy. So after about 2 hours, it becomes not so fun for me. Like, even if I'm just in a beach house, like, I really won't be able to go outside that much unless I either, A, are packed with sunscreen, or it's nighttime, like, or the sun is setting or whatever. So I'd probably pick the mountains, only because I feel like I would be able to explore more, so.
Right. Yeah, see, I've always had the same answer for this. I have to go camping trip simply because I hate sand so much.
I totally resonate with that. Sand. Every time I go to the beach, I have sand in places I didn't even know sand could be, you know?
Yeah.
Like, why is there sand, like under my armpits? Like, how did it get there? I wasn't even laying down. I was literally just walking on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Right, and I think the next question might be the most interesting question, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
So, again, there's going to be a little bit of clarification here, just because of how people have answered in the past. But if you could time travel, where would you go? Now, when you time travel, the machine itself takes care. If you go to the past, there's no changing timelines. The machine handles all paradoxes, chaos theory, anything like that. It also handles all of your sanitary needs, so bathrooms, showers, etc., food. All that's handled by the machine. So forward or backward, where do you go?
Oh my God. These are one of the questions where also I don't know. Because there's so many places, so many timelines I would want to visit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to add another addendum to this question. So you get 2 trips. Whether you want to go backward and then forward, or backward and backward, forward and forward, however you want to do it, you have 2 trips to take. Where do you go?
Okay, well, I'd probably go to Europe sometime in the Renaissance era because I love that, that whole period of art and music where everything just flourishes and we're coming up with a whole bunch of new ideas. I just kind of want to see that chaos, but it's not, it's creative chaos. I kind of want to see that unfold a little bit just for maybe a day or two, that'd be fun. And then I'd probably go into the past again, but I probably would go to America sometime in the 70s or 80s, only because I know the party life was insane. I want to see some of the bands that have already broken up or passed away live,
Yeah.
So I think that would be cool.
What kind of bands, if I can ask? An extra question.
What kind of bands? Probably punk, maybe rock. I'm trying to think of artists, but I feel like I'm gonna get the timelines wrong. I mean, I don't know if the Beatles were still together in the 80s, but I'd see them live. I don't know when the first one passed away, but I wouldn't mind seeing them live. Maybe I don't know, the Beach Boys too. Again, I feel like I'm mixing up I'm forgetting when they were popular, but I'd be pretty cool with that.
I want to say Beach Boys were popular in the late 40s, maybe into the 50s. They're old school.
I might be thinking of a different band then, because I don't think it's the Beach Boys then. I forget which band. It's not the Beach Boys. It's not the Beach Boys. Ah, my God. I'm forgetting names because I'm more of a person that listens to songs. I have a huge playlist of just punk songs and stuff. I know the bands and I like the bands. Unfortunately, I'm not a huge super fan that knows which band was popular.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know that was like a huge era for like punk and punk rock, and I like that type of music. So I wouldn't mind traveling back in the 80s or like the 70s.
Oh yeah, going back and seeing bands like the Clash or the Doors and watch the
I think I was
origins
thinking of
punk
the
music.
Doors. I think I was thinking of the Doors, legit.
like Riders on the Storm.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's the Doors.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't mind going back and seeing them. It'd just be cool. Like, I know a lot of these bands are still popular today, but now they're like kind of out of their prime. Like, they're still good. They're just older now. I'd love to see them when they were in their prime, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, well, going on to question number 15, which is the only question on the list that has a correct answer. So, PurpleGrimes, how do you like your steak cooked?
I want to say medium because for the sole reason, let me explain my answer. So when you go to a restaurant, right, if you say you want it rare, they practically don't cook it. It's raw. If you say you want it medium rare, sometimes they undercook it. Also not the best. If you cook it medium, and let's say they overcook it, you still have a medium well steak, which is still not bad. I think well done is too rough. So I think medium is a good middle ground, because if they undercook it, you know, it's raw. It's a little raw, but it's not too bad, because then it's medium rare. And if they overcook it, it's still not super cooked because it's medium well. So
See, I can accept that as an answer. See, I do somewhat the same thing, except I always order medium rare because I prefer it on the rarer side. So if they undercook it, it's rare. If they overcook it, it's medium. I can deal with it anywhere in between there.
See, I just don't like it when it's too rare. Then it's like, because I also was like whenever my parents would cook steak, it was like on the rare side, and I don't mind that necessarily. I just don't like it when it's like so red and the blood is like dripping out. I don't really know why. I just think it's because the texture. It's like too chewy.
Right.
No, not too chewy, too soft. I don't know how to explain it. It's more of a texture thing.
I see that's actually what I prefer. So like if you go to a good steakhouse, and I mean somewhere where you're going to spend over $150 for, you know, a full meal, I would prefer the chef cook the steak blue rare because I know it's going to be correct. But I love that just soft juiciness that you get from a very rare steak.
See, if I went to like a reputable place, then I wouldn't mind having it rare. Another issue with rare steak for me is that I'm afraid it might make me sick. And because I've been to places where the steak isn't too hot, and then it's too rare and I get a little sick. So I think if it was a reputable place that I know like would cook it to perfection, I wouldn't mind that either. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely understand that. A lot of people are scared of rare because they think it's not cooked. But if you cook the steak properly, and I mean, you know, letting the meat sit out and get to about room temperature and then cooking it, rare is completely safe to eat. But a lot of places don't do that. They take it straight out the fridge, throw it on the skillet, griddle, whatever, and the center does not come to temperature properly.
Yeah, that's honestly probably what happens to the places I've been to. They're not like known for their steak. That's the thing. And I was like, well, I'll just get some steak. I'm in the mood for that. And then, then I have an upset stomach later. But you know, whatever.
If you go to any chain restaurant like Applebee's or something like that, you always order your steak medium because they cannot do proper rare steaks.
I could not agree more. Yeah, I would not trust an Applebee's for a nice steak, you know?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into some controversy with question number 16.
Oh boy.
iPhone or Android?
I have an iPhone. I understand that Android is better. I understand that the tech is better, but it's just we live in a society where where iPhone is the most popular phone, therefore everyone has an iPhone, therefore AirDrop, iMessage, all that stuff, you know, is on iPhone only. So since my sister, my boyfriend, my parents actually have Androids, but pretty much all my friends, you know, all have iPhone. So I feel like I would be so left out of the loop if I didn't have an iPhone, you know? So I have to kind of give in to that societal pressure.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I mean, if you're on a different OS than everybody else around you, then you're left out of so much stuff.
Yeah,
it's like you can't FaceTime properly, you can't message properly.
it's like being a gamer on a Mac. Like, I started out as a gamer on a Mac, okay? And because I had a laptop. And it was the worst experience because the only thing I could really play was Minecraft. Other games either could not run on my computer because it was just a laptop and it wasn't a gaming laptop, or were Windows. So yeah, I was left out of like 80% of games for my first few years of gaming.
Yeah. And we're not shitting on Minecraft here. Minecraft is a solid game.
It is.
Love it.
It's just the only game available on like all platforms.
Yeah, definitely agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of games, question number 17 brings us right into it. Top 3 games of all time.
Oh, I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one. It's more that I like these games themselves. I just am not a huge fan of the community, but I don't think the community should deter people from the game in essence, because I think that if more people join, the community will be better. So I think I'm obsessed with Dead by Daylight. That doesn't mean I think it's the best game, but that is my favorite game to date. I think with friends it is so fun, and it's just like a good game to pass the time as well. I don't think it's, of course, like the best game ever made, but I really love it. So I guess that'd be kind of number 1.
I will say, just to interject for a moment.
Yeah, no worries.
I like Dead by Daylight. It's nowhere near like the top of my list, but it's a solid game.
That's fair.
But as a streamer, the Dead by Daylight community is a diehard community. They are very intense in their support of the game.
Yeah.
Now you get both sides of the coin with that intenseness, because like I've seen communities rise and fall around that game, because you get the people who are super supportive, they want to include, and they want everybody to come in. And then you also have these super toxic gatekeepers who are like, you fucking suck, get the fuck off, dude.
That, as I think I frequent the Reddit, which I get a lot of hate for, because the Reddit community on there is horrendous. It is filled with toxic people, gatekeepers, people telling people not to play the game with stuff that the game gives them. Like, there are some perks, like NOED, which is No One Escapes Death, where once the gates are activated after you complete all the gens, a totem activates on the map, and the killers basically, they can insta down you. I understand that is a frustrating perk, but the game gives you it. So it might be frustrating to be against it, but you know, it's part of the game. So I don't understand why people get hate for using that, even though it's part of the game. So
I can understand that, because like with any game where you have perks or abilities, like there's always that one that people are like, fuck you for using it. Even though like it's included, it's a part of the game. It's just like you play Valorant.
Unfortunately.
If you're on round 3 and somebody, pulls out an op, everybody else in the room is like, what the fuck?
Yeah, op crutch, as they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're literally, everybody who's playing against you views you as a piece of shit, but everybody on your team is like, fuck yeah, we're about to get this round.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, definitely. But it's just like, there's just games where like certain things are kind of OP. Like for Survivor on Dead by Daylight, for example, there are so many perks that give them, they're called second chance perks. Like Decisive Strike, Dead Hard, Adrenaline. Those are perks that give the survivor considerably, I guess, an unfair advantage. I don't really think so. The killer can still win. I just think that in games where it's people against people, they want it to be fair, but especially in a game like Dead by Daylight, where it's 1v4, the survivors or the killers or both sides kind of feel entitled to a win for doing one thing in the game. Yeah. When in essence, like, it's, for the survivors, it's a team game. So if you win, but you didn't help your team at all, you just escaped last, all of them died, like, you're kind of a bad teammate. But if you're a killer and you get one kill, but then you miss the other kills, that is considered a loss, even though you still got a kill,
Right.
So I think it's just one of those games where, like, these sides are both completely uneven, and one side thinks they are owed something else from the other side. Like, if a survivor is being nice to the killer, like not gen rushing or whatever, the survivor thinks that they deserve a win, when in reality it's legitimately a game where a killer is trying to kill you.
Yeah. And this took me a little while to learn. I had to get some people to teach me. Like, being considered toxic in Dead by Daylight has so many rules that go along with it.
Yeah.
Like how to not be toxic. But from what I've understood, and I'm by no means a super experienced DVD player, the ideal game is like for everybody to win. It's like the killer gets 2 kills, but he has knocked everybody at least once, and he breaks a couple of barriers. He does, he meets a bunch of his goals to get his points, but the survivors also get all of the gens, and 2 of them escape, and they get, a couple totems as well. Like, you want everybody to max out their points.
I agree. I think in an ideal, I'm sorry to interrupt, by the way.
No, you're good.
I think that an ideal game where everyone leaves happy is a 2-kill game, like you said, where everyone's gotten hooked at least twice, but 2 people still escape. I agree with you. I think that's an ideal game.
Right.
And everyone is getting a fair side. However, a lot of killers think that an ideal game is where they get a 4K, and a lot of survivors think that an ideal game is where they all escape. They want the best for their side, which I get. It means the highest amount of blood points. But then the other side feels tilted. I don't think either side owes someone either side. I don't really get hurt in this game. I feel like that's why I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing bothers me. If I'm playing killer and someone's like clicky flashlight teabagging me, I think it's funny because as a survivor, that is what I do to killers. I don't do it often, but let's say like I'm in a really dire situation. I need the killer to chase me so my team doesn't die. I'll be kind of like an asshole.
Yeah.
That's because I'm trying to piss the killer off and trying to get them to put their attention on me. Even if I die, I know that I might die from it because they might get pissed and then face camp me, but I'm willing to take the risk. Whereas as a killer, if a survivor's doing that to me, I know they're trying to make me mad.
Right.
So I don't really fuel the fire. However, I do think it's mean if the survivors are doing it in the gate already. Like if when the doors open, stuff like that, like just go.
Yeah.
Like, you already won. You don't really have to be an asshole by teabagging and flashlight clicking in the gate. Like, you got your win. Like, you don't have to do all that. I don't take it super personal, but I'm just like, really, bro? Really? It's the same for killer if they're like face camping you.
Yeah. I will say, and this is my line in the sand. If you do this, you're just a straight piece of shit. If you're playing killer, and you, like the first time you down somebody and you go to put them on the hook and you just stand there waiting for somebody else to come up, you make sure that person dies off of their first hook.
I agree with you.
You're a piece of shit.
That's called face camping.
Yeah.
That, I agree with you, is an asshole thing to do for the killer. I could not agree more. I think that I understand proximity camping. I don't really get it early on, but basically proximity camping is when like there's one gen left and the killer, it really isn't going to get many kills from this, but they know that if they stay in the area, someone is going to come save them and they'll get another kill, whether it's the person that's on hook or it's the person that's getting them. So they won't like camp directly, but they'll kind of stay in the area. That right. I understand, and I don't think is toxic. I have some very unpopular opinions. I don't really think that things are toxic that a lot of the other people think are. I do think that there are toxic things. I think I'm just more lenient about most things because it's a game at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, I definitely agree with you there. I think proximity camping is okay as long as the killer goes after the savior and not the person getting off the hook.
I definitely agree.
That's what I'm saying.
Tunneling.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is there's so many rules to not being toxic because like if somebody gets off the hook and you immediately down them again, you're toxic. If you face camp, you're toxic. Like it's
the thing is,
and that goes for both sides.
Dead by Daylight kind of okays a lot of these behavior because there are many different ways to play the game. And a streamer that said this, I know a lot of people don't like this opinion. A lot of people don't like this guy. But I saw a video where he said this once. It's a streamer named like Spook and Jukes. He said, like, this, at the end of the day, this is just a game and no one owes you enjoyment of the game because them being an asshole might be their enjoyment. And it's like, I hate it, but it's true. If someone's going to be an asshole, they're going to be an asshole. And at the end of the day, you just got to be like, you know what? It's a game. They probably got a laugh out out of this because it was funny to them, but they're gonna, if they had to face camp and tunnel to get one kill while all of you escaped, they're just bad.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Like, they're just bad. I understand also tunneling in certain situations is necessary. Like, for example, if it's the last two people in the game and you kind of can't really, you only see one person the entire game, like, that's not really tunneling if you don't have any other choice, if you can't find the other person. But
yeah,
I do agree. If you're tunneling and camping from the very beginning and you only secure one kill that entire game, like, you're kind of bad.
yeah, you're trash.
Yeah, you're kind of trash at the game, bro. I would play a different game.
Yeah.
Oh, I never said my other two favorite games, by the way.
Nope. Let's get back on track.
We've been talking about Dead by Daylight. I could talk about Dead by Daylight forever, but I probably would. I love story games, so the Walking Dead, Telltale story games. I have such a childhood nostalgia for those games, and I've also played through them many times. Also, I'm sorry if you hear talking in the back. My mom is in the kitchen next to my room.
That's okay.
So sorry about that. I live with my parents, but so yeah. I love the Walking Dead ones. I also was a big fan of the show, so that's why that was my childhood, like, for like 4 years, just everything Walking Dead related.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd probably have to pick the game Until Dawn. I've never played it. I watched one playthrough and I just loved the storyline and I want to play the game so bad. I don't know if you ever played Until Dawn, but
I don't think so.
It's basically a story game where you are kind of responsible for 13 people's outcomes. There's so many different endings because since there's 13 people, all of them have a chance at surviving. All of them have a chance at dying. Some can live, some can die. Every time you play the game, you could get a different outcome. But it's a story game, and there's so many different routes you could go. It's kind of they're camping. They're at a camp in the woods. And it's dark, and so, it's kind of like Friday the 13th type. Not Friday the 13th. I don't know if you've ever seen American Horror Story, the 1984 season, but it's kind of just like the power shuts off, they go to turn it on, someone dies, or someone goes missing, etc. And then a Wendigo comes. They're like, I don't exactly know the background, but they're like a urban legend type of scary thing. I don't exactly know the background. I know there's some there's some more culture to it, but it's just a very intriguing game. I recommend looking it up, playing it if you like story games. It's a good game.
It sounds like it. Definitely something worth checking out.
Yeah, I didn't really explain it very well because, again, I've only seen one playthrough, but I want to play it so bad because I love story games where it's kind of like choose your own fate, and there's like 100 different fates. I could have so many different endings because you can only play a story game as much as you can until it starts getting stale. But I feel like this game, it takes very, very long time to get stale. So
okay, that might be something to look into. Might check that one out.
Yeah, I think it's a PS4 exclusive though, which stinks. Which is why I'm trying to get like a way to play it without having a PS4 because I don't have a PS4.
Yeah. All right. So that was Dead by Daylight. The Walking Dead Telltale series, and Until Dawn?
Mm-hmm, yes.
All right, top 3 games. It.
They're all like very horror or like zombie, not zombie. They're all very like they're not happy games.
But that's all right. That's what makes some stuff really interesting. Can't always be happy.
I agree.
All right. Question number 18, our last I call it a silly question, and I just felt like including it because it yeah.
No worries.
Question 18 is cereal soup?
Oh my god, I was just having this debate the other day. So it's okay. A hot dog by definition is technically a sandwich. It is meat between two bread. However,
Agreed.
That doesn't mean people call it a sandwich. Soup, in essence, is food inside a liquid. And so is cereal. So I guess by definition it is a soup, but I'm never going to call cereal soup. So.
I can't remember who said it. Somebody on one of the past episodes said, by definition, a hot dog is a sandwich. But if you go into a store and order a sandwich and be like, hey, let me get a sandwich, you don't expect them to hand you a hot dog.
I literally could not agree more. When you ask for a soup, you don't expect cereal, and when you ask for a sandwich, you don't expect a hot dog. By definition, yes, these things are sandwiches and soups, but that doesn't mean we're going to start calling them that.
Right. Now, this is just my personal interpretation. Let me get yours. Is a taco a sandwich?
I is it bread or is it a shell? Because I think it's a shell, so it's not a sandwich.
Well, what is a shell? What's the definition of a shell, Jenna?
Well, okay, yes, I know it's made of wheat and like bread materials, but it's not the same consistency as a bun or like a loaf of bread, and I think that's what we consider a sandwich. I think if anything, it'd be considered more of a wrap, because while you're not wrapping it, it's the same material as like a wrap.
Okay, but is a wrap not just a type of sandwich? Let me ask you this: Have you ever had a pita sandwich?
Yes, I've had a pita sandwich.
Okay, is a pita not super close in design to a tortilla?
I mean, you're right, but I don't like that you're right. Like, it's kind of like saying, yes, cereal's a soup, but I'm not going to like it. Like, you're right, but I don't know. What about hard shell tacos, though?
I mean, I still consider that bread. It's just, it's
like, but it's a big chip.
Right. I mean, you're not wrong.
It's literally a big chip that just has meat inside of it and like lettuce and tomato.
Still describing a sandwich to me.
Okay, that's fair. Honestly, I mean, yeah, I guess they're sandwiches, but also by the same aspect of the hot dog. You don't expect someone to hand you a taco when you ask for a sandwich, so.
Very true. And burritos are just Mexican calzones.
I've never heard that before. Oh, honestly, like, no, I would say more quesadillas are more like Mexican calzones, because it's like, it's heated, you know? Like, not that a burrito isn't heated, but
yeah,
it's already hot ingredients.
You can have a grilled burrito.
I mean, I guess.
To me, a quesadilla is just a super sticky taco.
Okay, fair. That is fair. That is very fair. Huh. Food is weird, honestly. Like,
food is weird.
Like, we're the only species on this planet that like takes just random stuff outside, and instead of eating it raw or like just doing the bare minimum of mixing, like we make it into whole dishes. Like, do you think that like a random deer has ever eaten like tomato basil soup? No.
I mean, they've never made tomato basil soup.
Exactly.
They may have found some in some trash or something, but
exactly. Like, humans are weird, honestly. It's not even the food, it's human beings, because like literally what other species like makes food the way we do, you know?
None. I don't believe there's any, but that's why we're better. We make better food. Or we make food better, actually. Let's change that wording around.
Yeah, we make food better, but unfortunately we can make food better, but the downside is we have extreme consciousness and self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bad part about it.
Yeah. That's what makes humans horrible, is our self-awareness and our brains.
Yeah, our human tendencies, you know?
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on, the second to last question, which is probably the most serious question. It's definitely kind of macabre.
Okay.
But what is something that you wish to leave behind when you're gone?
See, this is a question that I've never thought about because I don't want to think about it. When I think of death, I usually get scared about dying and then just leave it at that. But if I had to pick something that I would leave, I guess I would leave something to like different people, but I guess if I had to like leave something to the world, I don't know. Maybe like I would make a little like book about or like a little essay, leave people that, and maybe like give someone my gerbils. I hope my gerbils are still getting fed. That's pretty much it. I don't really know. I feel like I'm too young to like have things to like pass down to other people, you know, at this point.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be material things. I mean, it could be memories. It could be, an impact that you've had on not necessarily the world, but on, people in your life.
Well, then I think I would just like leave the advice then that like it's okay to like be upset about things or like not be mentally okay all the time. I think, I mean, as a mental health advocate and future mental health professional, I do think that society has a huge thing about like, you know, either being too emotional or not being emotional at all. And I think it makes people really hard to regulate their emotions. And then people make dumb decisions. And that's why we have a bunch of bad stuff going on, and people just don't want to help other people, and if they do, it's for like weird self-interest. I think as a society or whatever, we need to be more empathetic towards others and also for ourselves, because sometimes people are too hard on themselves. So
yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, if there's anything that I can leave behind, it's the idea that having feelings is okay.
yeah.
You are perfectly within your rights as a human being to feel what you feel and to express those feelings in a healthy way.
I I agree. I think that society, oh my god, why is my throat like that? Okay, I apologize, but
It's okay.
I think that society, I think we live in a society. I love that meme, but there's such a taboo for emotions against everyone. Like, women are conventionally seen as like too emotional, so they shouldn't really be emotional. Like, calm down. And then like men are like, you know, why are you crying? You know, men don't cry, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just so weird that people shame people for natural human emotions. And then that's how mental illnesses start, because people are suppressing their emotions. They're suppressing their feelings. They're getting depressed. They're getting anxious. They're developing a bunch of different disorders. They're acting out negatively. Like, part of the reason there's, this is a theory, but part of the reason that there's also a lot of violence is genuinely because a lot of people aren't taught correctly how to express their emotions, and they act out negatively. So
yeah,
I think that there definitely needs to be more of a less taboo against mental health. I don't know why there's such a taboo against that. Like, you know, our brain is the powerhouse of our body. If our brain dies, we're dead.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your theory. Especially males in the United States, they are not taught how to healthily express or handle their feelings from a very young age. You know, I'm perfect example of that. I was raised in, it wasn't a super toxic masculinity household, but it was definitely existent there, and it was always suppressed. You know, men don't cry, men don't do this, men don't do that. I mean, I have my fingernails painted right now because of a sub goal that I had.
Good. Listen,
and
live your life by what makes you happy. Even if someone else is going to shame you for that, like, tell them to go fuck themselves. You know, it's your life, YOLO. Like, I think that it's really sad because there's a lot of guys in my life that I see that like are so hesitant to like show emotions, even though their parents are like great and they never explicitly said, "Oh, don't cry, don't be a bitch." Like, it's subconsciously in all of our like biases. Like, when we like, sometimes like I genuinely hate to say this, when I see a guy cry, like, for a second I'm like, whoa, but then I'm like, he's a normal human being. Why am I like that? Like, he's allowed to cry. I cried yesterday. Like, it's just subconsciously in our society and in all of our brains that like men shouldn't show emotion. And I hate that, because men are human beings just like women are human beings. We're all human beings, you know? I think that's so stupid. So
absolutely. Yeah. Express your feelings how you want to.
Yes, exactly. Well, as long as it's healthy, you know? Healthily, yes.
But yeah, there is a mental health crisis in our world, not just the United States, but across the entire world.
I agree.
We really need to change how we react and how we treat people.
I could not agree more. I think that's a global thing, you know? People just need to be nicer to others. And like the hippie movement in the 70s, they were on track with some things, you know. We're never gonna love each other if we keep reacting with violence and anger. We need to be nicer to each other, so we can flourish, because it's just gonna end with us killing each other.
Yeah, do better, humanity.
Facts. I could not agree more.
Well, that brings us into the last question of the podcast. So,
excitement and sadness.
Yeah, it is a bittersweet time. But question 20, it's not really a question. It's a chance for you to tell us all about what you've got going on. So, PurpleGrimes, what are you currently working on?
Well, funny you mentioned that. I took about a month break to focus on graduating. I had to write a thesis, so I kind of haven't been producing much, but now that I have graduated, I'm going to be taking a gap year. I'm going to have a lot more time to focus on the channel, focus on making content. So I've actually decided that I'm going to start doing YouTube as well as Twitch, but it'll be different games than Twitch. I was thinking of doing more like games where I won't exactly like need chat and just more for the playthrough. I've also been thinking of streaming on YouTube as well, like the buy streaming. Like it'll be like I streamed on Twitch 2 days and I stream on YouTube 2 days. Because while I do love Twitch, I'm not happy with a lot of the decisions and the lack of decisions that they've been making lately. So I'm not saying YouTube's the best either, but YouTube has been dealing with stuff better. So I do want to kind of see how it is on both, even though I don't really have the community on YouTube. I think that with time, you know, it'll get there. And if I post videos, it'll get there too. But the videos are more going to be like story-based games, maybe some Dead by Daylight funny moments, you know, stuff that I can edit, because I used to be a big video editor back in like high school, but I stopped doing it because it was a lot of time. It was very time consuming because, you know, a 12-minute video takes like 3 hours of editing.
Yeah.
As you know, with your podcast, it's probably going to take you like 4 hours. Jeez.
Yeah.
Like, you know, depending on how much you cut out or leave in, but, and how much like, you know, if you add text, filters, whatever. But yeah, I'm going to be adding videos. I'm going to be incorporating more stream days in. So I'll have like a multiplayer day. Then I'm going to do a story game day. Then I'm going to do like a community day where I play something that the community has, whether it's like Among Us or Valorant, Customs, Minecraft, whatever. We'll see.
Okay.
And maybe I'll do like a horror game day. I do really like horror games. I don't know. We'll see what I end up streaming, because it just more depends on like what games come out, stuff like that. I also do plan on making a series of the new Harry Potter game that's coming out on my YouTube, the Hogwarts Legacy game. Yeah. I'm extremely excited about that game. It's supposed to be like a Harry Potter version of Elden Ring. Did I say that right? Elden Ring?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, great. But yeah, it's gonna be like it's basically like a Harry Potter version of that. The feedback now isn't so great, which makes me kind of sad, but it's still in development and it's supposed to be released sometime next year, so, or the year after. I'm not exactly sure. It was supposed to be this year, but then COVID, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that as well. But yeah, it's gonna be streaming, YouTube, and maybe posting on TikTok.
Okay.
Well, we will see.
Well, we will definitely be keeping an eye out for it. And for anybody interested, that is twitch.tv/PurpleGrimes, all one word. Definitely keep an eye out for that YouTube link when that starts up. And go drop her a follow. Show us some love.
Yes, I'm super friendly, I promise. If you come in and just like want to talk about cats the entire stream, we could do that. You don't even have to talk about the game. It's fine. I'll just play it while I talk. It'll be like it'll be like we're in a Discord call together. Oh, and for community games or Dead by Daylight or Valorant, if anyone ever wants to join on those days, it's kind of first come first serve, so it's literally legit whoever gets in the voice call first. But if you don't have anyone to play with and you want to play with me, you can play with me. I love playing with people.
Awesome. Well, definitely go check her out. But that's all 20 questions. That's the end of it.
Wow, that was sad. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed coming, so thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for coming. I've been really enjoying recording this. You get a lot of really interesting answers from different streamers and content creators.
I imagine you like get to know people pretty well, or their personalities based off these questions too.
Oh yeah. And we're about halfway through recording season 1. In season 2, all of the questions are going to change.
Ooh.
So maybe there will be a PurpleGrimes episode 2.
Ooh, PurpleGrimes part 2, maybe. Keep an eye out, guys.
But thank you everybody for listening. This was an amazing time. I had so much fun. Thank you again, Jenna, for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I hope those who are listening are enjoying the podcast, and I'm sorry to go, but maybe I'll be back.
We'll see where it goes, and I hope everybody has an amazing day. Thank you for listening.
Bye,
Have a
guys.
good one.